Now the International Space Station Flight Control Room, led by Flight Director Zeb Scoville. Just a handover of some of those audio and visual communications. We'll be regaining those shortly. Might lose them intermittently throughout the repressurization process, but
Dragon and station, it's Houston calling on the big loop. We're prepared and getting ready to transition the comm system to hardline.
Get you back on board.
We copy. We are go to come back on board. And with that, you are go to perform sections 1 through 3 of 4.400. We do recommend deferring your step 2.1.
Dragon again, we're still trying to get comm with Dragon, standby 1.
Dragon again, Dragon FM, we're check how we read this account turn 1 to 1.
On 2 for Anatoly. Anatoly, we're hearing you loud and clear in Houston. We seem to have an issue still with comm 2 Dragon, so we'll just have you stand.
Houston or station from Endeavor. Okay, Anna, we'll start with location 9 from bag 203. We removed 3 water bottles.
Copy. 3 bottles removed from bag 203.
Good read back from location 10. We removed
For how well it flew. It is exactly like the simulator, and we couldn't be happier about the performance of the vehicle.
What do you guys hope to accomplish in your time?
For we a couple
Question from we've been some questions that they'd like. Well, we have
and it's give credit
of Chris.
Loud and clear, sir.
For a voice check. Copy that, and
Houston, this station.
the event.
The
Great. Thanks.
next demo 2. We have Bob Bankin from SpaceX Demo 2 mission entering the International Space Station. Followed by Doug Hurley.
Got a whole bunch of
Crew.
Here, and I'm sure they have some questions that they'd like to ask you, but Andy,
My wife and kids in our living room watching on TV yesterday, and I suspect we did what just about everyone watching did, including both of you, which is held our breath as it took off.
So great to be with you guys. I was at the launch yesterday. I just want to say a huge congratulations, and you know.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Hopefully they enjoyed the launch. I know for parents, it can probably be pretty nerve-wracking for them to experience a launch. This was their third, so I'm glad everything went okay, and hopefully it was a good show. We haven't obviously heard or seen any video yet, but we're looking forward to seeing the launch replayed sometime.
I can assure you that it was a great show. It was one of the treats of my lifetime, I would have to say, and many other folks that were sitting there looking all across the country and even the world. And I can tell you, as Senator Cruz said, we've gone through some really rough times over the last few days, and to have that successful launch. You know, the public-private partnership between NASA and SpaceX.
humans living and working for long periods of time on the surface of the moon, but doing it
To do, and you've been really busy, and I appreciate that. So I also like this visual of our international partnership. We have had a tremendous partnership with Roscosmos, and we will continue to do so. But it is nice to see crew arrive from this side of the space station. So that was pretty cool after 9 years.
like to take. And then a quick note for those down here in the room to Senator Cruz, Congressman Bobbin, Administrator Bridenstine, Director Geyer, and all of our distinguished visitors. Thank you for your participation in today's historic event, and thank you for the leadership that has enabled it.
station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes our event as we count down to 20 continuous years of humans living and working on the International Space Station.
That concludes our coverage of the SpaceX Demo 2 mission in conjunction with NASA. On behalf of all the teams that participated in this mission, from Hawthorne to Houston to Mission Control to the Kennedy Space Center, this is Mission Control Houston.
Last about 120 days, so that's the capability, and that is driven by the
from ISS, the International Space Center, International Space Station.
We need to make sure that we bring Bob and Doug home safely, but when we think about launching American astronauts for the first time on a brand new rocket, this has been done 4 times in the history of the United States: Mercury, Gemini, Apollo, Space Shuttle, and now Crew Dragon. So it's actually 5 times now, and this has gone as well as we could have expected it to go.
We've certified the systems on this Dragon vehicle to be able to last about 120 days. So that's the capability, and that is driven by the solar arrays. They slowly degrade over time. We'll start watching those. We'll power up the spacecraft about once a week, and we'll get some data on those solar arrays. So it'll probably take a few weeks to get trending on that to see, hey, is that 120 days about right? Today, the Dragon is extremely healthy. There's really no major problems, so it should be able to stay for a longer period of time. But not only are we looking at this particular vehicle, we're also looking ahead to Crew 1. As Kenny said, that's an important mission for us. It has 4 crew. It really is what commercial crew is about, having a vehicle ready to do these increment missions. So that we'll look at that readiness of that vehicle. Right now it's targeting toward being launch ready at the end of August timeframe. And so we'll just kind of continue to look at this vehicle. Is it performing well? We'll look at the readiness of that vehicle. And then, you know, in a month or so, we'll be able to make a decision as to how long to keep this vehicle in orbit. The second question was, what's different between this version of Dragon and the Crew 1 vehicle, which is the next Dragon? They are very similar in terms of their systems, the life support, the GNC. The Crew 1 vehicle can land at a little bit higher wind state. The SpaceX has changed some of the outer composite panels to make that a little stronger. It can land in higher winds. It also has the capability to dock not only to the forward port of the space station, but it can go to the zenith port as well. So it has that capability, and it has a couple of other features, but largely it's the same vehicle, and it's set up for 4 crew, and then can dock at either port, and then a little bit better capability relative to landing in higher winds, I would characterize as the big differences.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Stephen Cowan.
Did you mean Keith Cowan?
Oh, sorry, the operator put Stephen Cowan. Keith, happy you can join us. Your question, please.
That was my evil twin. For Mr. Bridenstine, I've been watching a lot of TV lately with a lot of split screens, NASA on one side, riots on the other, and it reminds me of 1968 when I was a kid watching the Apollo missions. You say that the Demo 2 coverage topped everything, yet these heat charts that you were showing on TV yesterday seem to suggest that the only interest that you're seeing is from the states where the Dragon was built and flown, California, Texas, and Florida. Can you provide some more detailed stats to back up your claims? But moreover, and I know this has been asked many times, how do you convince the millions of angry and upset people who were not watching TV, they're out in the streets with their phones and wearing gas masks, that two guys in a spaceship is more important than the problems that, in quotes, we have here back on Earth, which was the line that we used back in 1968. There doesn't seem to be a connection between what NASA is doing and this subset of the population who is looking for answers.
Yeah, look, I think what NASA does is astonishing, it's impressive, and it does bring people together. If the expectation was that things on the ground were going to change because we launched a rocket, I think maybe the expectation might have been a little high. But I will tell you that Bettina, do you have the numbers on how many people watched on NASA TV?
So we're still collecting the data, but some of our metrics are saying a peak viewership for the May 30th joint NASA SpaceX launch broadcast across all of our platforms was at least 10.3 million concurrent viewers, the most watched events we've ever tracked.
Yeah. So I think it is impressive, and I think a lot of people saw it. I think the whole world saw it.